and we can finally start putting our cane together. So I'm going to cut, and I will show you the drawing of what I'm trying to obtain. I'm using a diamond-like ovoid cutter, and I need to make 4 cuts on each side, 2 of them being a little bit deeper and 2 of them being a little bit shallower. I will get whatever I cut, flatten it out, place it on the mix of black and navy blue, and then obtain the spiral cane. Yes, trust me, that Fimo was conditioned to smithereens. But pretty much on each side there would be 2 of those spirals. I'll show you. What I thought is, like on a big leaf, you have those stylized stems, and on each of the stems you have a lotus bud. So this is practically what I'm trying to accomplish. And this is to explain to you, because there is one point I really couldn't do more clear than this, the taping. At one point you'll have to insert little strips of white to get the distance between the lines of the stylized stems of the lotus defined. So I'm going to do these spirals, as I said, and on top of the spiral, of each spiral you saw, will be the lotus bud, and the lotus bud will be those little diamond shaped that were folded initially in a half circle, and then I pinched the ends of the circle. But as you can see, they need to be fairly small. And as I said, if you're a beginner, don't sweat much over this cane, because this is not a beginner cane. This is a complicated cane. And as you can see, I did the cut for the lotus bud. I'm doing another cut for the spiral, and another cut, I will do another cut for the lotus bud. I think I'm going to get the tip of that triangle and put it back, though. It will help making things a little bit rounder. But with everything that I cut, I flatten it, then I place it on my double-sided black and a navy blue strip, always with the navy blue side towards the outside. And that piece that you leave over might break. That's fine, you can just add it again. As I said, Fimo Professional is a very, very stiff clay, and it doesn't react very nicely whenever it needs to be bended, even if you condition it a lot. But as you can see, I have reduced my little lotus buds quite small, and I need 4 of them. So I need 4 buds, 4 spirals, 2 on each side. And then when you place the buds and the spirals, always place the bud first. And another thing, I don't want them to be symmetrically arranged. So I want the spirals and buds on one side to be a little bit higher than on the other side. And obviously you can make this in other colors. I think that it would look beautiful with pinks, with violet and lavender. It would also look beautiful. And on the top bud, don't throw away, don't misplace that, because you'll need to put it back there when you put the two halves together. But once again, I am doing the spirals for the right side now. And now let's start putting stuff together. As I said, first place the bud. It's much easier if you place the bud first. I saw this design somewhere, so I thought of reproducing it to the best of my abilities. Always place the darker part of the bud going upwards. Yeah, I know, I cut the buds a little bit too long, but that's fine, they can be trimmed off. As you can see, I didn't skip over any of the steps here because it's so complicated that I wanted you to be able to see the full process. That's why the video is so long. And now, when putting them together, this is where comes the inserting little white lines. And as I said, if that leftover a line breaks, it's fine, you can just add it back. But you want that white line to define very clearly your the line of the spiral, what would be the stem of the lotus plant. I know it's very stylized, but this is pretty much how you see it in the art of the Orient, you know. And besides, remember the artistic vision. You see how I've put that piece that I cut from the top, so that the top of my two halves will be nicely joining together. But once again, it's very important to insert those white lines so that the lines of the spirals, the stems, will not come against the lines of the other spiral and against the buds. I could have made it even bigger so you can see better, but honestly, I was afraid I wouldn't be able to reduce it. If it were Premo, I wouldn't have had a problem. You've seen me reducing canes that were like 7 or even 8 inches long, but that was Premo. With Fimo Professional, it's a little bit more complicated for my hands. If I didn't have hands issues, it would be better, but unfortunately I do, so. So see how I'm separating each of the stems of the stylized flowers. And you don't want to leave that white so long. You don't want it to come outside of the leaf, the base leaf on which all the design rests on. And then you can start putting it together. Just simply press. If you will press, it will all come together beautifully and you don't have to worry. We just got everything that sticks out, and then I'll reduce it a little bit as a leaf. And you can keep the leaf shape by pressing, as you can see how I'm pressing on the opposite sides of the ovoid. And then I will wrap it in what's left of my sandwich. Only that I'm wrapping it with the black facing outwards. Now what was the hardest thing to do is done. Let's work on the middle. And here I will want an 8 petal flower. And that white thing in the middle that's like an iCat cane will give a little bit of 3D effect. It will look like the petal is shining in the sun in the very middle. You will see. And I need 2 pieces of this, so I need to reduce it. And I'm going to actually use 2 more pieces of it to put close to the top of the leaf. So I'm going to reduce it until I can cut it in 4 pieces that are the height of the central element. And I want the ones in the middle obviously to be a little bit larger, and then the ones that I will put towards the top of the central element will be a little bit smaller. Now I am going to wrap the 2 petals that will be at the center of the cane in such a way that they will be pretty much in a V shape, so that they can form the angle of the triangle. Now remember, I am making an 8 radial mandala, so it will have 8 slices. That means that the angle, the inner angle of my triangular slice of the mandala cane has to be a fairly acute angle. So I need to make sure that these 2 petals that I'm putting there will follow that acute angle thing. And I am wrapping in navy blue. Now I need a little bit more navy blue filling. And remember, always when you're in doubt, just place a little bit more. You can always shave it off. So that will be the tip of my triangle. And obviously I will need a little bit more filling. But we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, yay! And the other two pieces that I cut from the petals, I'm going to just put them up there. And now a little bit more filling, and remember we still have one element, and that is that Skinner blend that I plugged in as a roll with the white in the middle. Those will make like open lotus flowers at the very top of the slice. But they will be like half of a lotus flower on each side, and then when I put the slices together, they will combine and create a full flower. So I first need the petals that are on the very bottom, they need to be a little bit curved. And of course, I'm going to need a little bit of filling right in the middle between those two petals. And remember that the roll that I made with the remnants of the other two and that I cut in half, those will go in the middle and they will connect when the slices are put together to form a full lotus flower. And again, if it wasn't for the part in the middle, for that big leaf with the lotus buds in the middle that is completely non-symmetrical, this would not be a that hard of a cane to make, but because of that it is quite difficult. So all I'm doing now is just simply filling with the navy blue. If you want to try this with Premo, absolutely you can try it with Premo, but as I said, I was afraid that Premo will not keep perfectly straight lines for what I had envisioned. So now that I'm done, all it is to do now is reducing. You can see it's a fairly large thing to reduce. And I will reduce it first to the point that I can cut it in 4 equal segments. And as I said, for me personally, it has to be at least half an inch. If it is half an inch, I can manage to reduce it when it's this large. If it is not this large, it might be a little bit harder. But I managed to do them at 1 inch, so that will not be that hard. Because once I have them in a semicircle, it's going to be much easier to reduce. So I am placing my slices together to form a semicircle. Very careful and check on both sides of the cane that they are well put together, that each element meets the other element. And now I can go ahead and reduce the half circle. But first I need to put something in the middle. So I will make a very, very thin string of white that I will cut in half, obviously, because it's half a circle. And place that in the middle, and then keep reducing until I can cut it in two. Yeah, that was not good. It was too wide. And there we go. Now I can go ahead and reduce. It takes a little bit of time, and I didn't want to keep you watching for me to reduce that little by little. It took about, I don't know, 20 minutes to do all this. But as I said, the video is long enough already. That's why I'm showing you only the essential moves that I'm making when I'm reducing. And yes, from time to time I'm flattening it to not allow parts of the clay to push out too much. Let's cut the extras. Yes, I did waste a little bit, but that's fine. I told you, we'll do something with those wastages. Yeah, see, I didn't cut it right. Oh well. More wastage. It's very hard for me always to cut when I cannot look from above, and with the camera being directly from above, well, it's a little hard. So all I have to do now is to reduce a round cane. And that is pretty much it. And I already posted yesterday on how to do a simple pendant using a slice of a round cane, and of course you can use it with any other round cane, or even with not round cane, just with veneer. But this is pretty much it with the budding lotus mandala cane, and I will post a link to the pendant. And then next we'll do some beautiful stuff with the cane remnants. Happy claying!